Kams audio son. You burn this wine when I want you shine. The tree of life, them I want you climb, cause them heart no kind.
Kams
Kams
say them heart no
kind. Buxton massive. Kidaki. Red Hat.
Red Hat! Hey, hey! Share the life, yeah, share the life. Listen, let me tell you something. Trina get food, little boy in a peltum. Let me tell you, when you see they have to resort to disconnecting my program, for me, that is the biggest vote of confidence. That is the biggest vote of confidence to me. Because they're saying that the message is so effective and impactful, the only thing they can do is try to stop the people from hearing. And I from Buxton back down side, I got a good friend in China now, Shashri Martin. What I say, Neil? Morning, Shashri Martin. You know, Shashri said somebody tell him, he said them people over Buxton like that back and say people stubborn like a mule. Hey, you know that? So it's a combination. I don't know what they're going to do to stop me from speaking. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, share the life, share the life, share the life. We got things to talk. They want us to talk, we going to talk. Rebel said, they said, don't sing about that. Thank you, Anatema. I like my program managers. I love my program managers. And then said, don't forget where you stop. You're talking about Shell Mohammed and local government elections. Yes. And so I was saying to you, you see, man, I want to talk to 1,000 people on this issue. Yeah, share the life. I can't go there yet. Yeah, share the life. Let me talk about small things. Oh, let me remind you on the birth anniversary and the anniversary of Kams TV coming up. Yes, it's the 15th of July. You all see the post up there? Yes, the 15th of July, we got a big celebration. We got to celebrate 3 years of Kams. Because for 3 years, Kams didn't joking. Kams have been bringing it to you live and direct. We only got to get whisper. And then we just go down, as I said, deep in what? Deep in the pumpkin vine. Right? We only want to whisper and we go after it. I got a dirty stinking story I can tell you all just now. Anyhow, do you know you have a minister who left this country and went overseas to get married? I understand states' resources were used. Hold on, y'all know about that? Yeah? Are you aware of that? Y'all got to know y'all money is used. In the previous PPP government, and they'll not let take y'all money for going to fix the wind seed. We're going to talk about that. They don't want to talk about the other things, right? So let me talk about that. In the previous government, and they'll take y'all money, apart from them, Labo got the thief also. Right? Apart from the Labo that Anel stole and was placed before the courts for, and the court said there is enough evidence for the trial to proceed, right? And they did all kinds of things to delay the trial until they were installed, and then they hack Shalimar throughout the cases. He the thief the money for going to fix the wind. See, do y'all remember that? Right? They got another one in the government that takes state money for go foreign. To live out her fantasies. She be not married. She's a minister of housing and water. Housing and water. That's your minister. Y'all know she go overseas and married. Somebody said something about dildo. What is this? It's who talk about dildo. What y'all talking about dildo? What y'all said the woman married but is a dildo. She got 3 years of hard work. Like they don't like your son was. They lash him again because they said again, you know. Y'all know this are trying again, right? But I ain't giving up. The PPP is already right? They want to control local democratic organs to get access to the database of the resources of your communities so that they can recognize, they can get an understanding of what is unused, number one. Number two, what is neglected, where people are paying scant regard to their inheritances, and then they will misappropriate them. Sissy Logo, move to the front of the class. I like bright students. They want to get access to that information in the local democratic organs. Who owns what? What taxes are due and unpaid? Whose documents cannot be found and accounted for? Those are the kind of things they want to get into your neighborhood democratic councils to find out. Let me take this call. I'll tell you more about that. Call A Live. Good morning.
Sorry about this, Kadaki, but I got to run into a meeting. I got to say this before, this thing float away from my mind. First thing first, that man go and take state money and he went and buy wrong thing. He got buy powder sperm. So, powder sperm just blow it. Can't stick on nothing. This we went and did. And none of that. Number two, that thing that you're talking about the government, president and his unconstitutionality, all those laws that he break, I would love the power that be stick on that and it must be all over the place. Stick on it and don't come off like how they come off for other issues. You just use it for 2 weeks and then next thing it go dead. Imran video must be played over. It must be a turn in the ass. And Imran must even be one who must want to run and hide. Because we got to play this over and over and over. We got to stick it to them all the time. We can't let up. We can't relax and jump from issue to issue. But you continue what you're doing and hammer them. They're getting scared. You continue highlighting everything. Thanks, my brother.
Thank you for your call. We're talking local government elections to the PPP and winning the NDCs and the municipalities is not about wanting to provide service to the people. It is about wanting to access information from the people. Even now, where they're putting people to work in the NDCs and so on, these 10 days a month worker, this $40,000 a month worker, they're putting them there and putting them to research the property books in those NDCs to see who owns what, to see what rates are unpaid, to see where they can file for prescriptive right and adverse possession. Those are the things the PPP and the cronies are about right now where local government elections is concerned. I like to tell you all, history is a good teacher. I love to follow the history of certain behavior and things in this society. The older folks will tell you that Desmond Knight had to pass an act in Parliament that we call the Nutman Act. The Nutman Act to protect people's property in the capital city of Georgetown, because the municipality at that time, they had a racket. They had spotters. Nutman had spotters in the city council. And they used to pass information to him. Hey, this property in default. And he gonna come and he gonna pay the taxes. And then he gonna apply for prescriptive right. And a lot of people lost their property like that to Nutman. And when Desmond Knight realized that they were dispossessing black people like that, the Nutman Act was passed. And I think the act says that any property that is in, indebted to the council, anybody buying must first and foremost be the relatives. They must get first option to clear the debts and pay whatever penalty. Come to my recognize and the decline in the call. Please wait. It started as get vexed, you know. Right? Caller, there must be a reason I'm declining the call. Good morning. There must get a reason for me to be declining your call. Go ahead.
I want to tell you that you are not working with the fire service. You is a fire blazer. You and the lady. Whenever I come to Guyana, I will come and visit you guys. Let me tell you. Tell it to them straight all the time. Ogunseye, stand up, my brother. Eat your food this morning and get strong. Because if you got to lie down, lie down. This me order this morning. Thank you, my brother.
Thank you. You know, this is hard work. A lot of people don't understand how hard this thing is. I don't come here with notes, you know. I have to be consistently mental. So sometimes if you see me declining your call, understand, I'm going to finish a point. And you're going to get for call. Because if you alone want to talk, I can allow you to talk, you know. Right? Good. So y'all got to respect the hustle. Them street boys say, so respect the hustle. You understand? So yes, I'm saying. Alright, y'all didn't want to hear me. Call it live.
Yes, I'm live. Let me call you back when you get out.
Sure. I was saying that when Desmond Wright realized what was happening by these corrupt people, to disenfranchise people, to take away people's property, to rob people of their inheritance and so on, the Not-Man Act was passed. And here it is, the PPP, since Noah was a boy, has been trying to get control of the Georgetown municipality to start with. Let's deal with Georgetown municipality. Why? Georgetown is the capital city. Georgetown is the heart of the country. Georgetown is where a whole lot of money passes on a daily basis. And so if we could control Georgetown, you could make it like Chinatown. You got to pay to play. Our friends, favorite, and families will control what is happening in the city. So long as we can't control it, we're not going to invest in it. We're not going to support the mayor and councillors to fix it. Check the history and you will see that that is the operation of the PPP. As a matter of fact, one PPP local government minister at one time, I think it was Collymore, I can't remember, who said that he wished there would be an outbreak in the city. Y'all remember that? He wished for an outbreak in the city because the PPP was not getting control of the city, and the PPP will do anything to get control of the city. Why they want control of the city? Because if they get control of the city, they will do all that they want to do to control prime business spots and give it to their friends, favorites, and families. They will do all that they can do to force African Guyanese out of business in the city. Despite the fact that they are predominantly owners of business in the city, the few African Guyanese who have businesses in the city, they would like to see the backs of them. And so if I control the city, I get access to all the records and I can manipulate all that I want to manipulate to get what I want to get. The same thing they are doing in the neighborhood democratic councils. Neighborhood democratic councils, let me explain that to you. A neighborhood democratic or a neighborhood like Buxton Falls, I like to use where I know. Buxton Falls has about 17 communities. The only one that I know has a back dam is Buxton. The only village that I know in the Buxton Falls NDC that has a back dam in the true sense of a back dam is Buxton Friendship. Now, according to the laws, whatever is in the neighborhood is shared resources. So a man from Enterprise, for example, can come to the Buxton Falls NDC and apply to get lands in Buxton back dam to farm. You understand that? Now, if there are certain people who control the Buxton Falls NDC in terms of councillors and admin and all of that, then they understand the importance of Buxton back dam lands to Buxtonians. And so they will think twice to give away the Buxton back dam lands to outsiders of Buxton. And so you ain't gonna easily get people coming from Enterprise and more, well not anymore, Enterprise and Falls and so on, and Bladenall and so on, to occupy our ancestral lands in the back of Buxton back dam and eventually might claim ownership and all kinds of things. That is when you have some people in control of the Buxton Falls NDC. What the PPP wants? The PPP wants to control a neighborhood like Buxton Falls. Because when they control a neighborhood like Buxton Falls and they change the admin staff and everything and put who they want inside, then they get them to do their biddings. And next you know, the lands at the back of Buxton are all in the names of the Singhs and the Kans and the Prasads. And the people whose ancestors left it there ain't got access to nothing. I'll tell you something. There had a man named Jingari. He's from Annandale. Annandale is not part of Buxton Falls NDC. But Jinga had the most cane beds in Buxton back dam. Why? Because there was a racket being carried on at the Buxton NDC. And it involved some Buxtonians too. Because there are people who used to go and acquire lands for Jenga in their names. And so when villagers were struggling to get a 10 plots of land and this plot of land, that man alone had over 100 plots of land in Buxton back dam as far as I remember. That is what the PPP likes, corruption. The PPP will facilitate that kind of things. And that is why we have to rig and control all the NDCs. A majority of the NDCs. Interested all the time. Y'all tell me, wow, suddenly Shell got an interest in that?
Calling to talk to you privately.
Okay, I'm on.
Okay, I wasn't prepared. Let me go to my, okay. Good morning, everyone in the Guyanese diaspora. Good morning, all Guyanese. The PPP is desperate. And that's why they're continue to try to knock this program off. But we will stand by if it's 16 times. Me and my people, we're going to log on all 16 times just to hear the continued message that was put out. And if I got to go to the street and come back and log on to an extended version, we're going to do that. So those who are trying, they're wasting time. That's wasted time. It just emboldens us to be that more persistent. I had prepared a few notes, which I wanted to talk about, so I might as well go ahead and talk about that. Very quickly, impeachment, according to you, Mr. Kadaki, is the order of the day. because you put out a call last week for impeachment with marching orders. And I'm not turning back on that. I've already got my instructions for impeachment. I was researching the Constitution, Article 94. And Article 94 says that crimes of misconduct, the president of Guyana can be impeached for violations of the Constitution and misconduct in office. So now the definition, for those of us who are concerned, two things. We need to find out and itemize the violations, and then we also need to see what constitutes misconduct according to British Commonwealth law. So I looked up what constitutes misconduct in the UK. And it says you could be in misconduct if you're stealing, if you're doing acts of violence, like trying to turn over people's cars before or after the fact. If you try to barge into GECOM's office. If you're going down to Muck and you're violating the Constitution. Right? If you're violating the Constitution by way of violating the separation of powers clause in the Constitution. This recent case by Prasad proved a violation of a separation of powers clause, because the case proved that Irfan Ali, and they're so stupid they include Mark Phillips, so put him inside too. Right? So we got the executive and we got the prime minister who's in charge of the cabinet. Right? Two stupidity for the price of one. So put him in there too, since they volunteered his name. For violating the separation clause of the Constitution. Right? And as days goes by, we will talk about more facts, more constitutional violations, which are legitimate grounds in any court of law, particularly this Prasad case. Kermit Norton has been lamenting, rightfully so, of the different instances where the PPP have violated the inclusion clause of the Constitution. Right? We can also include the fact, why did Sarah Ann Lynch raise the issue of marginalization? So under the marginalization aspect, she has to have good grounds for saying marginalization. So then we could look into the discriminatory clause of the Constitution. We could look into the equal protection clause of the Constitution and see how it ties into marginalization and discrimination, and how the PPP government has been facilitating breaking the discriminatory laws that protect against discrimination and protect against violation of equal protection in the Constitution. I want to hammer this home, but I don't want to say too much. But I want people to begin to Google and understand two things. What is the definition of misconduct in office according to British Commonwealth law? I was recently looking up in India about nullification of the Constitution. And I think in India, they tried to nullify the Constitution by violating Article 307, whereby the President of India, or the Prime Minister, sought to throw out the state of Kashmir. And the people said that was a constitutional nullification by the government to go against its very own constitution. The reason for me looking at Kashmir is to find an instance within the Commonwealth law. Because when it gets to the CCJ, they always like to look at Commonwealth laws for precedents in the Commonwealth. Anyway, I'm going to stop there for now. And once again, Mr. Kadaki, if it takes 25 times, I know we going to log on all 25 times. Once again, thank you for listening.
Thank you for your call. I got somebody to address before I continue.
Yes, don't forget paper shots.
A man named Upnarain Sir. Upnarain Sir say blah, 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 blah. You know ginger, blah, 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 and so on and so forth. You want me to tell him who shoot Jingle? I don't know. I don't know. I would like you to tell me who killed Sash Sir. Because you're on Sir, I recognize you're on Sir. You're Rupnarain Sir, right? So Rupnarain Sir, who killed Sash Sir? You tell me though. While you're looking for the information, you perhaps could tell me who do it to Jinga too. Because I would like to know. They're both cold cases. Or better yet, who killed Kwame Wing? Who killed Kwame Wing? Call her live. Call her live.
Morning.
Morning, caller.
Hello? Hey, morning, neighbor, morning. Morning, them could only try. Well, let me say this here, Brother Kadaki. Let me say if was a case that you did violating anything, they would have come for you. But they know they can't set up nothing for throw upon you. Because they know that you're not no ordinary black brother. So they got to divert to the cheapness. I understand this banner Jason Abdullah. This work there with in them information and them tracking thing and them thing. Let me tell you something, if you're listening, Jason. You're nothing else but a cheap black clown. If you're walking there for truth, you're nothing else but a cheap black clown. Errol Butcher Tap's son. You're nothing else but a cheap black clown, and people like you and all the rest of black folks inside the government is what got the government going answer to people look like you. To people look like y'all. The other day we been gaffing with my friend them at Hope Town. And them man is then we sit down at the car there with them man and them man gaffing, and it's then them man going to remind me about this one Hickins. Them man come from real humble and real intellectual and spiritual background in Hope Town. The man great like great uncle them. And so it's some of the veterans in Lutheran Church and them thing inside Hope Town there, and them man disgracing them generation. And another brethren remind me that Clifton, I know he heard for me. Clifton, because I know he heard for me foot. That's why he got for act so. Because the woman we married to, the wife, is an Indian woman who involved with some killing. She husband who was a drugs man. So he can't know he heard for me foot. Maybe he got what he said before she take you out too. So this world is a whole wrong world. So he turn gonna come. Nobody outside not gonna live gun pony. None not gonna live no gun pony. He live gun on them man in Linden. Take out them 3 man in Linden. And he's still taking the using. All we doing is coming against your own black people them. For a bunch of people them who weren't even like you. Because you hear what the little boy say. That all black man You gonna pies now, you want pies now, all. And there's the same sentiment that is superior them, Jadio and them is they're using. People like Ropes and Ben, One Edgel, Hits and Jam Crew, and all of them black crew we see hanging on the PPP just for a little pittance is Ayo. Gawi and thing in this is so. But we gonna rain down scan on all Ayo and Ayo family and everybody tell Ayo pull yourselves together and realize what's going on. Tell Ayo pull yourselves together and realize what's going on. But they're gonna try with Brother David Hines, they're gonna try with Brother Kadaki, they're gonna try with Brother Sherrod. They're gonna just try all the time, and the more I try for pull down, is the more we gonna rise. It's the more we gonna rise all the time. Viewers, when you are coming on the live, I you call them name out, throw scan upon them all the time. Wish them all the bad because it's them Gawi inside the disease. So, and what the Gawian is not good, so you gotta return it to all of them. Return to all of them. So when I come on the live, I make sure I call out them name on it while John you Tad, and then call out them name. All of them they see the atrocities going on from black people. They can't say nothing. They can't say nothing. The coalition is a far better party than them and balance for everybody because the evidence is there. Because when you see the Indians them in the party feel anything, they could be able to get up and speak. No matter if you don't agree with them, they could be able to get up and feel good talking. There's no balance, the coalition balance. Not one of them dare not get up. You see Boring in get up. You see Boring in them as them boss Jaggy and all them weak because they can't face the reality. They can't stand up and fight like a sponge. Jaggy and the land all them is sponge. They can't stand up and battle it out like a man. They got to go down.
Tackle our feet, but not our minds. They could tamper with the internet, but not my mind, not our minds. We talking local government. And so they are rigging the system. The system is already rigged. They rigged the system to control the Georgetown, New Amsterdam, and Linden municipality, along with whoever else they control already. Why they going after them? Because in this era of oil, regardless of how much money you steal from oil, you have to find some way of means of investing it. You can't invest it unless you have access to land in most instances. And so they're desperate for land. Hold the line, caller. They want land to build multi-story hotels and multi-story discos and all kinds of things. They want prime lands. And since your ancestors slave and build this country and they buy land, they bought plantations and turned them into villages, a lot of prime lands are in the hands of black people in this country, African Guyanese people in this country. And so they will do anything to wrestle them out of your ownership. So the new frontier for battle for lands that African Guyanese own is local government elections and the NDCs. Polori Joe stood in parliament and said he's going after the co-ops because, again, the majority of co-ops in this country are found under the control of majority African Guyanese people. And so wherever African Guyanese people control land, the PPP is ready to go and send their friends, favorite, and family to wrestle it from them. Why not tell the people that thing with Lincoln Lewis ancestral lands. Y'all take it. He's willing to defend them, knowing very well that is private property. Let us focus, people. The people being anxious to local government elections because they want to prove to the world that they're Democrats. They want to prove to themselves that they can bully black people and take what belongs to black people. Call A Live, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Kadaki. I prepared to come yesterday, but on my way out, I got a message that Brother Ogunseye was not in Georgetown like what was previously taught and shared. And at that time, I would not have been able to get to the East Coast, so that's why I wasn't there. Sunday, I was willing, Kadaki, but my body...
Rhonda, you have the line. Rhonda, you know, all these explanations and apologies, you know. Let me talk about today.
All right, we're talking about today. Now, with the thing with local government, I am glad you are expanding on what I said last week. I remember I talked about those little workers who are taking information. That is so true. Because the PPP now, with these people being fitted into the local government, they are getting all the information that they want. Because these people now that in the local government and those little $40,000 workers tell themselves that because of the PPP, they can now handle money. But in our area, lots of them are going through a lot of turmoil because they got cameras on them, real slave cameras on them. If they stand up too long, think money coming out of the pay and all the different atrocities is now befalling them. Because the house slave is down on their backs. He's massive with the statement and massive with the whip. Because at certain times when you pass and you hear the house slave talking to those $40,000 workers, you know right away this is master and slaves will just come off the slave ship. About the other issues, we have got to keep ourselves alert, and people have got to get down to know what you own. Don't sit down and, oh, me going there. Go find out what you own and learn the location. Because if you find out what you own, you don't know the location, you could still lose it. And all the things that Coffee said, it's true. I will keep following up on whatever it is. Now for a call who calling to say that he was there when you telling you should hold on till you think. Thanks for your confidence in us. We are here on the ground and we will do our best. And when you come from outside and you come and you give us strength, that enables us to fight more. So thanks for your confidence in us, caller, and we will do the best we can. And the brother Ogunseye, we are behind you 100%. They try to shackle you, to bring you back to how we came from Africa. But we are stronger for our history. And I know with a fighter like you, we will go places. And I'm glad to see that Abnur PNC Norton, that he is in the trenches fighting along with WPA. We must not see 6 letters dividing us as African. 6 letters must bring us together and make us a united front. And once we let those 6 letters of WPA, PNC, or PNC, WPA come together and merge, we are going to be a strong body that we can stand up against whatever is being thrown at us. Much love to WPA, PNC, PNC, WPA. Bye-bye.
Thank you for your call. It's 25 past the 9 o'clock hour. How about we wrap up at 9:30? What y'all think? Anyhow, we got something for play. I think we got some voice notes. Let's play some. Don't forget WPS call for civil disobedience. And Ali has breached the Constitution and so should be impeached. Impeachment is an option. And people are talking about you need more than 50% of the votes in Parliament to get the president impeached. You don't need Parliament to impeach the president. Y'all ever say? You don't need Parliament to impeach the president. The people must impeach the president. Let's do it on the streets of Georgetown. They want Georgetown? Let's go to Georgetown with them.
Good morning, Mr. Amsterdam. I want to know why every time in the morning you get your program always disrupting. Because you say don't go down there, in and out. There's sometimes in the IT you program we get blackout. But I just watch this one, FYI. Just come on and it don't get no problem. FYI does run till Cheryl does run him out till he done. But I sit down and I study it, Cheryl does run him out. But you see your program, just give you all the details. Cheryl don't give you all the details. Cheryl just talk a piece and keep back the whole rest. He don't talk, he don't go into details and tell you anything. In the item you talking about this Mohammed, the program gone. Because I just see a picture last month with this Mohammed running for local government election in a way back nothing. There's no way going listening because there must be some flaw. Somebody must throw it up. But I don't know. The government's so low that they could use people to tamper with the internet. So low, so bad. If y'all ain't talking truth and right, they wouldn't have been doing that. So when I watch it, they don't want people to know what's going on. Because for me in Linden here, I don't even forget what's going on in Guyana. I don't watch the news. Me TV is pay YouTube. First, I don't even have an antenna. For Nova Guyana, I bunks on you, Mark Benchcap, and David Hines. I was going on the internet for Nova Guyana because the news, CNN or NCN or whatever it name, me don't watch them thing now. And I said, Ghana, those days when we went to Linden, and we just got to listen to day news. And wherever news they say, when you're going down, you're hearing something different. So Ghana, those days. But what are you going to do?
What you going to do? You're going to fight. You're going to be civilly disobedient.
Exactly, but it's not Imran alone use racial sir. You had the young girl that come out and said that all the people them should poison all the vegetable and kill out all them black man. Then you had Auntie Suki where they come out and talk about Anil and Jack Dio. I think about informally. You had another Indian lady too. There's a whole pack of them Pontabega Anil you got rename. So all of them videos must play.
Mr. Amsterdam, I have just turned to Facebook and I noticed another break open. Sorry about the first one. Morning again, Mr. Amsterdam. I just noticed on Facebook that they had another break and enter again at the PNC office in Letem by the police. And I'll try to get you the picture, the video, and you'll see it.
They will forever continue to, or forever try to break into the PNC office at Letem. You know why? What the work that the PNC has done not let him. The PNC has collected a whole set of information to prove that the PPP is rigging the electoral machinery because they're registering Brazilians as Guyanese and Venezuelans as Guyanese. So the PNC has found a whole set of information to prove that the voter roll is fraudulent. And so when they went and the guys are breaking it down because it's state property and all kind of thing, they really wanted access to the information that the PNC collected. And they stole a lot of those documents and destroyed them and so on. So they're going to get in to see where else they're going to pick up. That's all I can see. But you see, I keep saying, as a youngster growing up, I used to hear people talking about setting a jumbie. Y'all know what's a jumbie? And police are running through the yards and all kind of thing last year. If they don't just use the things around you to defend you. Right? But the first time somebody encountered jumbie, they might not want to go back. It's as simple as that. First time somebody encounters a jumbie, they ain't gonna want to go back. You ain't think I learn to use jumbie. So we're talking about local government elections and why you must not partake in them. Because partaking in them is giving legitimacy to the PPP despite the fact that you know that they're corrupt and they're corrupting the electoral system. You stand a better chance of fighting the PPP just now over the local government results or elections if you don't partake. As a matter of fact, I am saying, and I know the WPA will support me in saying, we must organize ourselves and march against the elections on nomination day, which is the 17th of this month. Organize and let us march against the elections on the 17th of this month. So nomination day, we should be highlighting to the world that we are against the local government elections because the system is fraud and fraudulent. Call it your life.
Good morning to one and all. I guess we're getting some problems this morning, but anyhow, thanks to be back on. I wanted to talk about because I've been watching. There was I think a press conference or a rally, whatever, with the PNC recently. And I was watching it, and I've also observed other opposition members and so on talking on social media, of course. And what I do think is that the coalition in the whole, I think they have some well-educated, very good young leaders, very good orators, right? And these people, they're vibrant and they're willing to confront this struggle holistically. But I think the seniors in some of these parties, especially the PNC and the AFC, I think they're holding back these youths. And
Good morning. Yes. Since a week ago is now y'all calling? Huh? No, I still got the issue. Okay, I guess in another week? Okay. You do.
struggle. in a modern way because they like I said, they have the energy, and the older guys don't have the energy. And I think this is where the WPA is steering this whole thing, is leading the charge, right? Because the WPA, the senior members of the WPA, of course, they're involved as much as the younger members, but they don't strain, they don't stop the younger members for pursuing the struggle in their way. And I mean, Dr. Hines, sometimes I hear when you and Dr. Hines are doing interviews, you may say something or whatever, and that Dr. Hines would do it in a different way. And he don't tell you, I don't get it that you would say, well, you know what, you shouldn't be in front because you're too loud or whatever. What he may do, what he may do, he may just say that he would do it differently, you know, and that's experience, and that's a mature way to do things. So I'm calling on the leadership in these opposition parties to allow these vibrant younger people to pursue the struggle because they have the energy and they're very educated and know how to. And the other point I need to make is about the TACUMA OGUNSEYE situation. I think that the WPA, I think they called it the PP bluff in this regard, because I really do think that the PP intention was to have they were thinking that OGUNSEYE would be gone into hiding, and they would have had to come and look looking for him, you know, and maybe try to arrest him or maybe try to even kill him, right? And saying that whatever, somehow, you know, the narrative, whatever situation. But they would expect it that the WP would call it bluff. And I think that's a very strategic thing, a really good thing they did, right? And that the man turned himself in. So when the man turned himself in, you know, they don't even have a proper charge. So they don't even know what to charge this man because they wasn't expecting it. They was expecting to hunt him down and go kill him or whatever, or hunt him down. And if they do find him and not kill him, maybe hold him in jail. And saying that, you know what, we can't get this man bail because we have to go hunt him down and find him and all this kind of stuff. So I really do the WPA, sorry. I think that's a very, very good strategy they used there, and they did the right thing. They did the sensible thing, and they call the PP bluff. And I don't think that in a mind game, in an intellectual game, in a strategy game, there's no way any of these parties, you know, could, including the PP party, could win the WP in regards to strategizing, and in regards to experience and these kind of things. So the WP I give as number one for me. That's my say. Thanks.
Thank you, caller. Listen, I'm exhausted. I gotta go. Oh yes. Yes. I think I gotta go. I gotta go, man. I gotta go. Just a talk off and left off. Tomorrow we're going to talk the rest. Listen. Y'all want to know, is GT&T just called me, you know? They want to know if my ratio has been resolved after a week or two. After a week or two, you know, they just called to find out if the issue has been resolved. But somebody is saying get a new service provider. Let me talk about service providers in this country. We're going to come back to the hardcore things just now or tomorrow. Sometimes I got to take it light, you know. Here was the issue with service providers in this country. They got GTT, they got E-Networks, and they got Digicel. Digicel doesn't give landline service. GT&T, Digicel can only sell data. Right? Digicel can sell data. GTT is the authorized service provider for data and terrestrial internet or whatever they call it and everything. E-Networks, the PPP outfit E-Networks. In case y'all didn't know, E-Networks owned by PPP. I'm not telling y'all already, but let me remind y'all. E-Networks is a PPP outfit. And so if I can get this amount of stress using GT&T service, which is supposed to be independent of the government, imagine what they're going to do to me over at E-Networks. It's a case of running from the Jamaica and putting up to the coffin. Right? It's a case of running from the Jamaica and putting up to the coffin. But as I'm talking about that, I remember the internet service launch in Linden, or it's supposed to be launched in Linden. I think I might go reach out to those guys and see what they could do for me. Right? But there's a state of play in this country. The PPP ain't got respect for human rights, and the PPP ain't got respect for democratic principles and stuff like that. All the PPP is concerned about, it can do what it likes when it likes. And it is enabled, and I think they're going to cut me off here again. It is enabled by the ABCE and all them other letter countries, the international community. Because for as long as the US and the rest of the international community gets what they want out of the PPP government, they're happy. And the PPP can do whatever it likes. And that is what is emboldening the PPP. Because the PPP has refused, for example, to renegotiate their contract with ExxonMobil. ExxonMobil is the US. And the PPP is giving favorable conditions to American companies coming into Guyana to invest in all of that. And that is good for the US. And so the PPP recognizes this. As we say, give with one hand and take with the other. We are going to be favorable to the US, keep them happy, and they will allow us to beat our opponents into the ground in Guyana. And so while many of us are looking to the US to help, as long as the US is getting what the US wants, the US ain't got no time to interfere with the PPP. Understand that. And so let's break it down for you now. The only way to get the US to intervene to handle the PPP and put them in a place is if you make the place hot. The heat must be searing. The heat must be unbearable. Because when the heat becomes unbearable, and listen to this, when the heat becomes unbearable, you start getting security advice like the one that the US issued a couple of days ago or a week ago or so. That Guyana is volatile. The US doesn't like to be in a volatile place. They don't like their citizens in a volatile place. And so if you want the US to really intervene in what is happening in this country, make it volatile. How do you make it volatile? By engaging in civil disobedience. Everybody who is coming to this country for say doing business with the PPP must be walking, as they say, on ice. Because they must not know when they're going to be walking into big protest in downtown Georgetown. Where the police are forced to use tear gas, so they're going to get affected. That is how you create volatility. I don't know which angle you look at it from, but from every single angle I see in one way to get the PPP to do what is right by the citizens of this country. And it's by fighting them. Whether you want to fight in the courts or you want to fight in the streets or you want to fight in parliament, everybody choose their fight. But at the end of the day, you got to fight the PPP to get what you want. It's 12 minutes to 10. I could wait till 10 o'clock or I could go away. Let's see if I get any voice note. See one it in loading.
Mr. Amsterdam, on the 6th, 2 days from now, the International Court of The Hague will be making an announcement on the arbitrary case between Guyana and Venezuela.
We're going to deal with that next day, man. Right? Let's deal with that the next day. Sometimes the PPP was in opposition, it is alleged between Guyana and Venezuela, rice or oil, want to be communists. They're convenient communists. Outside of that, they're a set of hustlers, a good group of capitalist thieves. So, if one set of people could undermine a government by linking up, as we like to say, with the enemy of the state, why another set of people can't do it? Sometimes you just gotta forget nationalism, quite frankly, and fight for survival. So we're going to talk about the Hague and the International Court of Justice and the Guyana ruling. We could talk about it, but let's talk about it after we talk about equal rights and justice for citizens of this country, especially Afro-Guyanese who are being trampled right now. That's what we have to talk about. Sometimes I forget nationalism. Because why do I try to save a country that I can't live in? Or I can't benefit from the resources, or I wouldn't be treated fairly? Or my offspring, my next generation, will not be allowed to benefit from the resources of this country? Why fighting for it for really? What I got to do is focus my fight. And right now, my fight is focused on seeing the backs of the PPP. Because until we see the backs of the PPP, we can't fix this country for everybody. PPP is bad news to us. Every single citizen in this country, the PPP represents bad news. So they might not recognize it. But can you imagine the strides this country would make if we get rid of the PPP and we get a group of people who are really serious about good governance and fairness and equity and justice for the citizens of Guyana? Can you imagine the strides Guyanese will make? All of those who believe that they're getting the best right now because the PPP in office, can you imagine how much more they can get? The historians will tell you it was only the Desmondite government that a whole lot of these large businessmen who supporting and emboldening the PPP right now got a break. There's a story I heard about one of them. I'm going to tell you how I'm going to close the program. He was responsible for state agency, which was in the business of manufacturing. And he stole the formula. And when everybody was saying jail him, Forbes Barnum said, let the man be. Give him a pardon. Today he's one of the richest business people in this country. His family is one of the richest Indo-Guyanese business family in this country. But you think they got time to remember the kindness of Forbes Barnum? They are shacked up in the PPP camp of corruption and discrimination and racism. With that said, I'm saying again, the WPA say you must engage in civil disobedience. When WPA points out what this government is doing, it's not fighting Indo-Guyanese. It is standing on the side of the oppressed. And in this era, the oppressed are African Guyanese. When Indo-Guyanese were being oppressed, the WPA stood on their side. Along with the PPP and TUF and all them party that they had back then. Guard movement and FITOG and all them, the WPA stood with them. And fought against an predominantly African government, one can argue, to stop what they considered the oppression of Indo-Guyanese. The boots are on different feet now. And African Guyanese are being oppressed, and the WPA is proud to stand with them. Y'all have a good day. Goodbye.